And the mind we are talking about is completely different from the mind which is reading the book. So they take it as the same mind, so they confuse it at all. If you think about writing it, you'll just fall. So you need to do it naturally. It will be balanced.
So to create that memory, first we need conscious practices. Is that what it takes?
Anyone who asks, oh, you used to write, what happened? So that ghost get activated. So what is the process to raise someone from the dead to alive?
Oh, there's no such process. I just have to accept that they are not coming back.
So most of the time we are sobby, we are crying, we don't want this situation, and we go in front of the mirror and say like, I want these things to change. It won't.
That is where people mistaken it,
That
understanding it
yeah.
as the subconscious mind.
That is why I said there is no foundation to it. First I started reading, and first time I gave up. So I read it for like around a week, so I gave up. And I think around after 3 or 4 months, I saw this book in someone else's hand. In order to understand what is the essence of this book and how it can change your life, you need to really understand what subconscious mind is.
Am I audible? Welcome to the Book Talk, presented by the Bookwishes Club. Be the change you want to see in world. You are what you think. Trust the process. We all have heard these phrases in some point of our life. But how do we actually apply this into our practical life? Let's find this answer in today's episode. Hello book lovers, this is Seleska Sharma. Welcome to the 4th episode of the Book Talk. So today we have another guest with us who is going to talk about this phenomenal book by Dr. Joseph Murphy, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Let's welcome him. Welcome, Aashutosh Sapkota. How would you like to introduce yourself to audience?
So I would like to introduce myself as the book reader here today. So today we are going to talk about this book, Joseph Murphy, The Subconscious Mind. So I think this will be a very exciting podcast today, because I have recommended this book to a lot of people to read it most of the time. Many of the people don't find it exactly how it should be perceived. Some find it confusing, some find it meaningless. So I think today I'll be able to give some insights on that.
Thank you for the introduction. Now, as you introduce yourself as a book reader, I want to know what essence does book have in your life so far?
So book has been, and it is an integral part of my life till now. So basically what it was like, if you talk about my studies, I just completed till high school. So everything that I have learned, what I do on a day-to-day basis, or what I say to people, or do anything in our life, it's all given by book. I started reading in a very young age, so that provided me with a lot of insights on how people think, how societies work, how everything is functioning, and it also gave me a clear insight of how I could navigate through this whole social aspect, or through this whole intellectual aspect of the society, and that it helped me to navigate to a level that I can see that most of the people are what do we say, that are blank, or maybe they just are in autopilot mode. That would be the best word, in autopilot mode, knowing nothing about anything, and just they're just performing actions, and they are just living their life.
So basically books like this are the guidelines to those people who are living in autopilot mode.
Yeah,
as you
that we can take as one of the essences.
So talking about this book now, why did you choose to read this book, or what motivated you to choose this?
So the motivation came from different books. So the time when I started reading this book was the time when it was I was around, it was around 2017. And so I was reading this book. It took a lot of time to read this book, but generally it didn't take a lot of time to read other books, but it took a lot of time to read this book, because previously before this book I had read about something called that law of attraction. But what happened is still it was not a practical aspect of my life, so I was a little bit confused. So I started searching books which was about mindset or about law of attraction, or generally having to develop more confidence rather than the outer confidence, the inner confidence. So about thoughts, habits, and patterns. So that is when I came across this book. So first I started reading, and first time I gave up. So I read it for like around a week, so I gave up. And I think around after 3 or 4 months I saw this book in someone else's hand, and then again I thought, oh, I didn't complete that book, and I
Okay.
started reading that book. And that is when I completed the whole book.
Right. So, like you mentioned earlier too, that many people find it very confusing, or like you said, you gave up in the first week. So, what is the depth or intensity that this book holds now that you have
So
read
basically,
it?
all the books are designed in such a form that you don't need a foundation to read it. For example, you read some kind of skill book or you read some kind of self-help book. It does not need a foundation for you to like grab the knowledge inside it. But if you go like dive into the powers of conscious mind directly, and if you don't believe in like thoughts can help you change completely, just thinking can help you change completely. So if you don't have like the idea that how does that happen, if you don't have that foundation, you don't will you will not get anything out of this book. What happens is like you read these books, and most of the part is like it is dealing with health, wealth, and also it's dealing with your relationship. And when you go there are all practical steps and stories, and you feel like it's just another story book. And they just say that it may be possible for those people, it may not be possible for everyone. They term it as pure luck, most of them
So yes, as you said, many people
term
take
it
it
as,
as just a storybook
yeah,
because there are timeless stories,
yeah,
which sounds unrealistic to some people or a large number of people in
yeah,
this modern
yeah,
era. And the power of subconscious mind is something that sounds really unrealistic in this generation that we are living, because people are looking for the shortcuts,
yeah.
they lack patience, and we don't really believe that things like this can also happen. So what do you have to say about it? Does the power of subconscious mind actually work?
So when we talk about working, first we need to really understand that what is the perspective. So there are a lot of people in our society coming from different kind of mindsets. For example, we just break down the mindsets of people in such a way. Let's see, for example, there are people who can like really think, meaning like they are not or they are not on autopilot mode, or they are not going by the
Just with
that
the flow.
preset phenomena. Like that is the thing you need to do. They are trying to explore answers. So those kind of people, when come to this book, they have an open idea, and most of them get there. And some kind of people, when they come there, they just take it, and what they do is like most of the people, they think that thinking eventually will help them. But in order to understand what is the essence of this book and how it can change your life, you need to really understand what subconscious mind is. Because if you don't know what subconscious mind really is, you don't have a point to start. And most of the people like confuse subconscious mind with the conscious mind, or we can term it to in a simplified form to the objective brain and subjective brain.
Yes.
They just they can't differentiate what is the subjective brain and objective brain, and they don't start with the base, and they take subconscious mind as the mind they are using to read the book. And the mind we are talking about is completely different from the mind which is reading the book. So they take it as the same mind, so they confuse it at all.
So, before diving deeper into the concept of subconscious mind, I think our audience first need the clear concept about different parts, different layers, we call it, different layers of mind, such as conscious, subconscious, and also unconscious mind. So, let's clarify the audience about this.
So first, let's talk about the subconscious and the conscious mind, which will help a lot of person. And then the unconscious mind is also there, which is a very
It's
deep
a
type
deep
topic
thing.
in it itself. So that is a very old thing, like old in a sense that it comes from a very back generation when the people started to talk about subconscious mind. So if we need to like give a general thing to in such a way that everyone understand what is a conscious mind and subconscious mind, we can think in such a way that when you are thinking, for example, when you are, let's take the example of when you are sleeping and when you are waking up. So when you wake up, so for example, you feel hungry, you eat food. You want to watch something, you watch something. You want to go somewhere, you go somewhere, and you consciously take decisions. For example, you go to a restaurant and you want to eat something. You take a menu. So for example, you take a menu and you start surfing through the menu, and then you consciously decide what you want to eat based on the taste, based on everything that was like before coming to the restaurant. For example, you may
past
have eaten that food
experiences.
previously, or you may have heard that it tastes nice. So basically what happens is like you take your all senses and you decide upon that. But conscious mind is above that, but let's just take from the senses. So you decide according to your senses, but what happens is like the subconscious mind also has a memory. That memory cannot differentiate which is good and which is bad, which is tasty and which is not tasty.
Yes.
It can differentiate it is a food, you like it, but it cannot differentiate why do you like it, why do you not like it. But when I ask you, you like this food, you have a conscious reasoning because it tastes nice, because for example, if you are in a health diet, you consciously think this is a healthy diet, so I like this food because it is a healthy diet and I am in a health diet. But the subconscious mind does not know that either that food is healthy or it is unhealthy, it is tasty or untasty. It just stores a set of memory into your brain about you. You eat that food, you say it's tasty, it just holds it inside it. It is like automation. For example, if you need to decide everything, for example, now you need to pump your blood, now you need to breathe, now you need to, for example, blink your eye, now you need to hear, now you need to open your mouth. All those senses, if you decide through your conscious mind, it will become like impossible for you to
Yes.
operate. So what happens is like a segment of the brain is given to us which stores the memory. For example, we learn to walk, so it goes to your subconscious mind, and your body goes, body muscles and everything reflexes work according to that. So the subconscious mind generally stores all the memory needed by you, which will be needed in multiple times. For example, you learn to play a sport, and for your first time, when you, for example, you learn to play for example, football. Do you play any sports?
Chess.
Chess.
Most.
Okay, chess. Any physical
That's a
sports?
very not really.
Any physical sport? Not really. Okay, so
But
let's,
yes, we can connect it to riding.
okay,
Maybe.
yeah, we can connect it to the riding. So the first time you first time you start riding a bicycle, for example.
I'm very
So what happens,
conscious.
like you just put your left feet and right feet there, and then you just cycle once. So you say like, okay, I just pressed a pedal, now the cycle is moving forward. Then what you think from your conscious brain is like, is it going rightward, is it falling to the right side, is it falling to the left side, am I the pedal, did the pedal complete, do I need to press the pedal again? So those kind of thoughts will just distract your brain. And then what happens is like consciously you cannot do that. So what we like generally when we ride bicycle or someone teaches a bicycle, they just say like, you just ride, you just push, don't think. If you think, like if you think about riding it, you'll just fall.
Yes.
So you need to do it naturally, it will be balanced. As you go on pedaling, it will be balanced, your body will balance it. But to figure out that, we need like practice. Some people learn it in 1 hour, some people learn it in like 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, some people even take weeks. I myself took like 3 days, I think 3 days. First I took it myself, I fell down several times. A second day I fell down several times, and third day I didn't even know that I have like taken this cycle to a certain distance. And when I like looked back, or when I looked back, oh, I have come this far, and my conscious brain again arose there, and then I just was like, I didn't fall down, but I just stopped the cycle and stood there. And even after I have taken a long distance for the first time, I couldn't do it for the second time. It took me next 1 hour to like make circles. I could just make circle. I couldn't go in a straight path. I could just make circles. The first time I remember, I could go in circles, but I couldn't go in a straight path because my body would like naturally turn to the left side, and it would make a left circle. And till now, I can feel making a right turn is harder than making a left turn for me. I feel that. I feel that when I like it feels very uneasy for me to take a right turn than a left
Yes,
turn.
it feels same to me.
Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
normally people just ignore it, but
Yes.
it feels harder to take a right turn mostly.
Yes.
And it is reversed with the people with the other hand. So
Yes.
it functions basically. We
That's
have
the
done
thing.
many rounds with that, and our brain function in a certain way, so that happens. So still our subconscious brain is not ready. But if you talk about the people who do stunts, who do mountain bikes, those people are like, those conscious brain are very highly programmed to do the subconscious thing like riding, so they can do different stuffs.
So even in to put something into our subconscious mind, as we mentioned that it also has a memory. So to create that memory, first we need conscious practices. Is that what it tells?
We may need conscious practices if you want to adopt a habit,
Yeah.
but it generally is not a habit based thing. We can manipulate it, understanding its system, we know how it works, so we manipulate it, but it does not require a conscious effort to the memory. For example, you had a conscious effort of walking by your parents, you may not have done it yourself. So that didn't require your conscious effort to walk, but the conscious effort of your parents. So our subconscious brain is let's just not go in directly into that, but let's like for everyone to understand. So what happens is, like, we are talking about the writing thing, right? So what happens is, like, the conscious brain, you use your conscious brain to take out the cycle from your home to go to a certain place, to certain destination. Only the action of running the bicycle is done by your subconscious mind, right? So in order for everyone to understand, still when I tell this the same example to people, they don't exactly are able to like dissociate or like differentiate between those subconscious brain. Generally the subconscious brain does not listen to you. Number one, it does not listen to you. It has its own memory. If we need to break down, it has its own memory. It can be, the memory can be programmed and reprogrammed over time, but subconscious mind can be manipulated, which is the thing that you need to be very very safe from. So in a general example, mass media advertisement or something like Facebook feed, they keep programming your subconscious mind and they just take you to the next level. So that there is a very different aspect about how it can be manipulated. So generally it does not listen to you, it operates on its own. So you cannot just tell your subconscious mind to start doing this and it will happen. And it has a memory set which needs to be cleared, and then like generally I see people talking about this, like learn, unlearn and relearn.
Yes,
Which is for the conscious brain, but the same mechanism works with the subconscious brain perfectly. It works and fits with the subconscious brain. So the subconscious brain generally is the brain which is with you but is not in your control. You cannot control it in any sense. You can manipulate it, you can reprogram it, but it functions on its own. So what is the advantage? The advantage is, once you set something to your subconscious brain, then it will happen on an automatic way. For example, have you seen people who procrastinate?
a lot.
Have
Even
you seen
I have
people
done many
who,
times.
for example, movie lovers? Let's take an example of movie lovers. If a movie gets released, they instantly want to watch that movie. They can give up anything to watch that movie. For example, travelers, if they get any opportunity to travel, they just want to jump up and then travel.
Yes.
So our subconscious, like for example, there is this may sound harsh, many people may not believe it, but what happens is our brain can be programmed in such a way that the most loved thing can be hated by you the most. And it can be programmed, and it is not like, oh, I will start hating it. You like really start hating
happens
it.
through the
Really
practices,
through inner sense. It can happen to you. So for example, we can take some examples like social examples like divorce. There is love marriage at the first. There is a subconscious brain that likes everything about that person, even that person does something else. So after a time you just give negative thoughts to your brain, and as a memory something goes and it deposits in your subconscious brain, and you go, everything that she or he used to do, you feel nice, now it will start to feel like bad. So yeah.
Oh yes, please
So-
continue.
So we're talking about, so this clarification, like we cannot control it, it does not have memory.
Yeah.
So this will take us to like next level. Now we can talk about the question you asked about how people can like start
Yes.
using it, or what is the question exactly?
And Yes, before we talk about how people can start using it, we can maybe conclude this in a nutshell that whatever we plant in our subconscious mind,
Yeah.
it grows, be it a positive or negative, because it cannot differentiate
Yeah,
between
whatever we
those.
plant also grows. Whatever
And
we don't plant and is
that
planted by
can,
someone, somewhere, or manipulated also
that
grows.
also grows. Eventually, it's like observing, watching, sensing everything.
Yeah,
So
there's a
everything is
famous
rooted.
example about this. It's in like YouTube. You can find it. A lot of YouTubers, a lot of people have
Mm-hmm.
used this example. Have you heard about Kalpa Vriksha?
No. It's
So
like it's a
it's
plant.
generally
Just,
about law of attraction.
yeah.
We are getting to the law of attraction. Kalpa Vriksha and law of attraction is somewhat related.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard the story about the Kalpa Vriksha?
Please demonstrate a story.
So what they say is Kalpa Vriksha is a tree
Mm-hmm.
which grants everything. You sit under that tree and you wish for it and it grants.
Mm-hmm.
It is in like multiple religions and all those things, and it is also used in modern times. Even you can find this example in YouTube. So what is Kalpa Vriksha is like, for example, the example like to make it more easy for people to understand that you said if you plant something it grows,
grows.
and I said like something that is planted by someone else or manipulated also grows.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, that makes the brain very vulnerable. So what happens is like that brain can either make you or break you. That is the situation it can take you to the, and you don't know, for example, why I am being this way, why nothing is happening to me. You reach to a situation like that in a negative aspect, and in a positive aspect, how am I able to do it? It just I just feel like a minute. Those kind of aspects will be introduced to your life when it is really starts working. So the story about the Kalpa Vriksha is like there was a person. So he was going into a jogging. So he was jogging or basically running somewhere. So he was running and running and running. So out of a sudden, all the environment changed, and he reached to a place where there was a tree. And that tree was a Kalpa Vriksha, which generally mythological, according to our Hindu, it's the tree which is found in heaven. So so that person reaches to that Kalpa Vriksha. So he sits down to that tree. The person does not know that is a Kalpa Vriksha. So this is a situation that people don't know they have a subconscious mind.
Okay.
They sit down the tree, they don't know they have a subconscious mind, or that person does not know they has a Kalpa Vriksha which can do anything for you. So what happens is like the person sits under the tree and you have a subconscious mind. So that is a metaphor. So what happens is he imagines, oh, I'm so tired, I want to eat something, I want food. The food appears in front of the person. So the person eats the food. The person eats the food. Oh, I've eaten all this food, I need to drink something. And everything he wishes comes in front of it.
Okay.
Till then, the person has like, the person is in a situation, anything he tries to do in a practical situation, any person trying to do something, I want to open a business, I want to write a book, I want to do something, it's happening.
Okay.
Everything is happening. The metaphor is everything you are trying to do is happening. You went, you registered a company, you started writing a book, you completed 20 pages, you completed 30 pages, everything is happening. That is the metaphor. Now the next step, what happens, how does everything appear before me? Maybe there is a ghost.
Okay.
So in the real life metaphor, what happens, like I have written a book, many people have written a book, I have opened a business, many people open the business, not every business gets successful. That is the thought you planted. And that person planted, there may be a ghost. And what appears? Ghost appears. What appears? Problem appears. Your book gets more bad and bad. You don't see what sentences to improve. You see this sentence is bad, that is why my book does not work. You don't say this sentence is bad, I'll remove this and write this chapter again. You say this sentence is bad, that means this book may not work. The situation. So the ghost appears and the problem appears. So what happens, like now the ghost may kill me.
Okay.
So in the real life situation, this book may not be good fit. You go to a publisher and publisher says this is a crap. And the ghost is like snatching that person. And when you go to that publisher and give that book and the publisher says this is a crap, and then the ghost will start snatching in real life. So you are planting that thoughts, and that thought is like, oh, that is a good publisher. This publisher has published a lot of books. He has like given chances to a lot of writers, and all the writers are famous. And if he says my book is a crap, it may be a crap. So you plant. So you plant not your book is a crap. You are a crap writer. So anyone who asks, oh, you used to write, what happened? So your that ghost get activated. I used to
Mm-hmm.
write, I just stop writing. Even if you
Mm-hmm.
write at the night, you start
Mm-hmm.
saying that. But it's a memory.
Okay.
It's a memory that you need to tell to everyone that you stopped writing
Mm-hmm.
long ago, and you'll stop writing one day in real life too. So
Mm-hmm.
that ghost is snatching that person and the person dies.
Like eventually, whatever we are seeing, whatever we are experiencing, it's being recorded. So that's happening
Yeah,
accordingly.
yeah.
So I want to connect this to another thing, a word. Let's say trust and belief. I know it has a huge connection with working nature of subconscious mind.
Yeah.
It works differently for everyone. Obviously, everyone has different understanding, different perceptions of taking the concept of subconscious mind to those who have understood it. In my case, I trust the process. On the days that I work hard, hard work wins. On the days that I'm not working hard, I just trust the process. I believe in myself, and then everything works out.
Yeah.
So how does it work for you? How has it worked
What
for
if
you?
there is no process? What if it happens sudden
Mm-hmm.
at night? One night you are just, there is no process. What if I tell you there
Mm-hmm.
is no process? What happens then to your brain? You trust in the process, but if I tell you there is a no process to do this thing, where there is,
Process,
like,
yes.
either you are going to do it or you
Mm-hmm.
are not going to do it, there is no rule, there is no path, there is no process to it, what would
Mm-hmm.
you do then?
There's no
Because you
process
trust
to
in the process, right?
something in, like, could you please elaborate so that I can
For example,
maybe.
let's take a hypothetical situation.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Hypothetical situation that, for example, you want something,
Okay.
you want ABC, a material, or
Okay.
maybe something spiritual.
Okay.
Mostly we talk about the thing about, many people talk about, let's not, let's talk about a thing called
Okay.
ABC. There is a thing.
Let's do it.
So if I say you,
Mm-hmm.
now you want that thing, and you say
Okay.
you are wanting that thing, and you are asking everyone, I want to get it. What is the process to get it? Where should I start? What is the starting point? And if I say you, you just get it or you don't. There is no process.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing for you to trust. What will you do then?
Okay, that's quite hypothetical for sure. Trusting the process for me is basically trusting the working process of my
For
brain,
example,
the
let's take a
nature of my
situation.
brain.
Let's take a very harsh situation. Someone died.
Okay.
Mostly when people die, we just burn them, or like put them under the swell, or do something according to our
Mm-hmm.
religions. So if I
Yes.
say you need to wake up someone from the dead, a
Okay.
hypothetical situation,
Uh-huh.
which happens normally.
Uh-huh.
So what is the process
Mm-hmm.
to raise someone from the dead to alive?
Oh, there's no such process. I just have to accept that they are not coming back,
Uh,
and that
no, no. If
acceptance for me
Yeah, but
works.
for example, if someone there is a situation, someone raised
Mm-hmm.
from the dead.
Okay.
So, but there is no process to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The person just raised from the dead. He
Mm-hmm.
was dead a few minutes ago. He just raised.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, we see in movies like they are completely dead, and
Mm-hmm.
then they just wake up from the dead, and like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's a miracle. We label
Mm-hmm.
it as a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you trust the process, I mean to say, do you trust in the word called miracle or not?
Miracles happen, yes.
Miracles happen, or miracles keep happening, or miracles are the thing that happens.
It's maybe the vibrations, the frequency that are matching around, or it's maybe there is something spiritual. It's not everything is scientific. Maybe there is my voices hit some point of the space and it comes back, and I get that kind of manifestations. So yes, miracles keep happening.
But what if miracles are the thing?
Mm-hmm.
What if I say that miracles are the thing that are all based on your subconscious mind?
Mm-hmm. Could be possible.
Do you believe this world is, I'll ask you more one question.
Yes, sure.
Do you believe this world to be like psychological? It's highly psychological. What I believe is, like, we talk about physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspect,
Mm-hmm.
but most of the operations, what we do in day-to-day basis, you know, in day-to-day basis, you know. For example, for a person to live a
Mm-hmm.
healthy life in a sense, like happiness, wealth, some amount of wealth as the person desires, some amount of health as the person desires, some amount of maybe other things like material aspect or emotional aspect or spiritual aspect the person desires. for example, for a person to start a spiritual journey, the person should like it internally understand like I need to go to a spiritual path. The person should be like naturally be attracted to the places where they give you spiritual practices. Or for example, some people get attracted to like the bad habits like smoking, drinking, and all those things. Out of those people, some people go to the spiritual path, some people do not. But a spiritual path is like a next phenomena when people are like, now I'm highly psychological, I can operate, everything is being easy for me,
It's a
I want to explore
self-actualization.
beyond life.
Yeah.
But the major portion of the earth where people live is operated is psychological. What the person thinks, what you think, how you are, the state of your brain, the state of your body is like physical, the state of your brain, how your brain thinks, how your body is, all your attitude towards yourself or to the world, it's very highly psychological. So the psychology itself is built over time. You can build psychology, you see a person, if someone tells you this person is a bad, if someone tells you this person is a good, you adopt their psychology right now. But there are different things that is like deposited in your subconscious brain that will like that will help you navigate through. So most of the people operate in this psychological box. That psychological section is like huge.
It
So
is.
so that is why I was asking about previously what was I
Is the world psychological or spiritual?
yeah. But before that, how do you came to that topic? I think it was
How did we come to the topic?
how did we I mean how did we
I
come to
lost
that
the-
miracle? I think we are talking about a hypothetical example where
Yeah,
there
you
is
were
no
asking me
process.
questions.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
asked
with
you
the
about your
trusting the
process, that you
process.
trust the process. But I said that if you trust the process, you will not be able to do things which does not have process. And there are a million of things that does not have process.
Yes, there are a million of things. Like when it's about trusting externally, or do I trust internally also?
Yeah, but
Because
we are talking about planting the seed on the subconscious mind. It has a process that assists as a catalyst, but it may not plant it.
so one very basic example, I think everyone has gone through this instance in their life. Very simple thing that I want to remember something. I'm talking to you and I want to let us, for example, say remember the name of a singer of a particular song, and I'm not being able to remember that. So what I do is I trust the process because I know that eventually, now that I've fed this question into my brain, it is eventually going to give me answer.
Into
Now
your
or
conscious
later.
brain or the subconscious.
I try thinking of the name of singer consciously first. Now, if I don't get the answer, but I know that I have heard it and I have talked about that singer before, so then I leave it. I just continue with my other works, but I know that it's processing. It's on the back of my mind, so that's what I trust.
You think it is processing in your subconscious mind.
Yes, it is processing. I believe that it's processing somewhere in my past memories because it's there in my long-term memory. So it's processing there, and eventually, after some time, I get the answer
But
that
when
I remember
you
the name.
but you know it's processing, but you cannot know in the subconscious mind. How do you know it's been processing when it's
Knowing, as in, yes, we cannot be knowing this. Let's further discuss on this. What I feel is that is how my understanding of subconscious mind is working. I just
but
put that question into my brain, then I don't remember, so I don't put more pressure on it, like trying to remember it hard, like searching or something.
but that may develop two situations. Either you may have forgotten the questions, it may not have been properly planted on your subconscious mind. There
It
may be a
is,
situation.
yes, that could be. The forgetting part is like you continuously try to remember that, but still you are not trying to get it. There's something called trace decay, that it goes out of your memory when you don't bring it into your conscious mind.
Yeah, and that is the magic about subconscious mind. It never forgets.
Yes, it is
It
not
never
get
forgets.
decayed.
You can never forget to walk, can you?
No, obviously not.
No, you can forget to walk, but most of the people don't forget to walk.
But
So
if the people are like, I've seen these instances where people have been paralyzed or they have not been walking for too long period of time, then it's kind of feels unfamiliar to them to start walking.
yeah,
So maybe is that when the subconscious mind rests, or because we know this fact that subconscious mind never sleeps.
Yeah.
Conscious mind sleeps at night, but it never sleeps.
Yeah.
So how do you have to elaborate in this according to the learning of book?
The conscious mind never sleeps. If I need to have, we can take the same example when a person is paralyzed. So that person was walking before the person got paralyzed. So the person is walking and walking. The subconscious mind is operating his work. So after a certain time, the person is paralyzed and he's in a wheelchair or some place in his bed or her bed. So when the person is sitting in that position for a long time, not walking, so what happens is like he, for example, consciously thinks that he can't walk, which is his conscious behavior. He does it over time. So there is a particular time or particular method that we talk about. The methods, there are a lot of methods in the
Yes.
book.
There
So
are techniques.
let's, yeah, we can talk about affirmation techniques or the sleeping technique, which is like valuable for a lot of people and can be used practically. So every time that person is going to sleep, is about to sleep, what happens is like he consciously has thought over time that I cannot walk, I cannot walk, I cannot walk. If that person like slowly feels drowsy and drowsy and the person is about to sleep, or he is in some kind of trance state when he is thinking about something, just laying down, at that time if the person plants that information in the subconscious brain, the person may feel like I have never walked, because that memory is like completely erased from the subconscious mind. Or maybe due to affirmations like I cannot walk, I will not be able to walk, my leg is not working. Those kind of thing is like when pressurized upon, like it's like a door where you hit something, you keep on hitting and hitting and hitting, and something goes inside and again the door closes. So that affirmations, but affirmations take a lot of time. Like a lot of people, what they do is like they take affirmations like this. For example, I wake up, I look at the mirror and I say I am confident. But people don't know what is the timeline. The timeline is very different for the all the people. But those kind of affirmations which is not practiced properly takes a lot of time. It may takes more than 10, 20, 30 years, or it may happen just in one affirmations. It depends upon your state, the way you practice, the way you give your affirmation to yourself.
So yes, coming to this affirmation practices, many people are struggling with this because they practice and they're not getting the results out of it. So let's discuss more over it so that we can make our audience clearly understand how affirmations actually work with it, because it's kind of incomplete without visualization.
Yeah, it's incomplete without visualization. Yeah, you are
Because we
correct.
affirm, there many people have been struggling with this thing, that they are also taking this law of attraction or manifestation things in a very, I would say, a very pseudo understanding of that whatever we say that's going to happen or that will be true. For example, if I have a headache, then if I tell myself that no, I don't have a headache, I don't have a headache, I don't have a, that is not going to reduce my headache for
Yeah.
sure. So
It may increase your
yes,
headache.
it
Yeah.
may increase.
Yeah.
But I've seen many people practicing it wrong way. So how can we practice, or how can we make the people aware about what are the wrong things they are doing in the affirmation practices?
So there is I used to do wrong affirmation practices myself when I just had started reading this book. So there's a basic process and foundation. You need to set up the foundation for that. So the setting of foundation is itself a very long process. But for people to like watch this and just start practicing right away, or the guidelines they can use to correct, if we need to get into that. So what is that, what we can do is like, as you said, visualization. We need visualization in order to have the affirmations working
Because
properly.
words only,
Yeah,
if it sounds
working
very,
properly.
yeah.
Properly. And most of the people even say that pictures are more powerful to the subconscious mind. Affirmations may not be powerful to the subconscious mind. But that all depends upon what is your foundation. Have you heard about those in monasteries people chant mantras to like
Yes.
clean up the room, to purify the soul? It does not have any visualization. Some mantras may have visualization, like in Hindu religion what we do is like we visualize God, or we visualize some kind of entity that helps us to go through that mantra or that process. But what happens is like the mantra itself has no visualization. So there are very several ways the affirmation if we say like the affirmation does not work properly without visualization, that may be a wrong statement. But for most of the people, affirmation does not work without visualization because they don't have the basic foundation of planting memory into their subconscious mind. So the basic foundation, if they want to develop, they need to develop it very, very like slowly. It is a very slow process. And when you have that foundation, all kind of affirmations work. When you just say once, it is like, oh, your every cell of the body, it gets planted, and it is hyperly conscious that, oh, I'm doing that. So it's basically, if we say it into words, it's the difference between knowing and realizing. So knowing, you know that you are telling it, you have a headache, you know it, and you say like, I don't want to have a headache, I will not have a headache, my head will not ache now because I'm saying this to me, because you know it. And in order to your subconscious brain to realize that information and put it into your subconscious brain itself to absorb that, you need to have a foundation. But visualization can assist you for the instant things, like
I need to visualize that how it would feel if I did not have a headache.
yeah. So
That starts working.
and what happens is like your brain wants to adjust itself in that condition according to visualization, because imagination is very powerful. For example, if you imagine, oh, how good it would be to travel, for example, that also works with the mass media advertisement. They just look at an ad, oh, how great would it be if I had that sofa in my home, how great would it be if I have that laptop, how great would it be if I have that cloth. And that visualization of you having that cloth, you wearing that cloth, you were using that laptop, you sitting in that sofa, get profoundly adjusted in your brain that you want to buy it. Whenever you see it, you like it, you don't know why. For example, I just want to give you a very basic example. You see a rose,
Yeah.
you like it. Do you like rose? Or if you see a flower, do you like it?
Yes,
But
definitely.
if I ask you, why do you like a flower, what is your response to that?
Because they look pretty.
For
they are
example, you
attractive. Yes.
okay, they are pretty, they are
They
attractive.
are attractive, and some flowers smell good.
Yeah, but why do you like good smell, and why do you like pretty things?
Because it's pretty to my eyes. Like everybody wants to see pretty things, beautiful scenarios around them. It makes me feel good. It gives me a good vibe. It makes it lightens up my mood.
Yeah, but why are you liking something that lightens your mood? That is the question. Why is it a compulsion for our body to like something that pleases us?
Because we don't, as a human being, naturally we don't want to be in something in a discomfort zone. We always want to be comfortable. We always want good things, positive things.
Then
and
why people send them to the difficult situation? Why people put them into put themselves in a difficult situation, knowing that we don't want it?
maybe they are losing the track of the path, or not knowing the right guidelines, or not knowing the right directions to what they want to do.
So let's not go to the inner side of why do we, but as you said, like we like things that pleases us.
Please say that.
So most of that happens also due to subconscious brain. So you some people even like being in a, for example, if we talk about the general scenario is like toxic relationship. Some people love toxic relationship.
Yes.
I don't like that person, but still I want to be with that person.
Because you are liking that
Toxicity.
arguments.
You're liking the
that.
toxicity. So it's not about everything you like pretty things, you like everything you want to like. Your
Yes.
brain wants to like that toxicity, you like that toxicity.
Because
You know,
somewhere it has adapted to. It has
you
become
have
your
already
habit.
planted, you have already planted it
Yes.
inside your brain.
That's comfortable
that
to
the
you now.
toxicity is the thing I want.
Now
If
you
there is
are.
no toxicity around you,
You don't feel
there is something
comfortable.
missing. Yeah, there is something missing.
That happens.
So that is already programmed. So you have
Yes.
programmed it yourself, or maybe being suggested by someone. So that we like it, right? So we know the things we have planted in our brain, we like it, or we may go towards it. Most of the times, the pretty things, we like it.
Yeah.
So your visualization must be pretty. Your visualization must be pretty. Your visualization must be easy. Your visualizations are the things that is accepted by your brain to be true. For example, I tear a paper and put it here. I tear a paper into two pieces. So we talk about 2 or 3 things at once. We talk about the law of attraction. We
Okay.
talk about the power of subconscious mind. We talk about your liking, affirmations, everything. I tear a 2-piece paper and keep it here. So you start thinking that headache was your internal manifestations.
Yes.
you need to manifest internally. That paper is there. So basically, if you understand in a general scenario, it means I think that paper will join into two and become one paper. Then it must happen. That is what a general scenario explanation
Yes.
of a law of attraction
Affirmations is.
or affirmation is. So you sit here and you do the affirmation that this paper is going to collapse and become one paper. You just look at that paper, you visualize it going, for example, going,
Joining
attaching
together.
and joining.
Okay.
You force your brain, consciously what happens, like, okay, I'm imagining, I'm trying to do that. But what happens is that in that situation you are using your conscious brain. When you go in front of a mirror and say, I'm confident, I'm going to change my habits, you are using your conscious brain in order to give affirmations, in order to give the visualization. So you need to be using your subconscious mind in order to give your affirmations and visualization. Only then it will be like planted there. But most of the times what people do is like they sit and they like consciously go in front of the mirror and they say like, I will not be the same the next day, I will not be making the same mistake same day, I'm good, I'm great, I'm intelligent, I'm wise. And they visualize themselves of like having knowledge of all the books, they visualize themselves like sitting in front of a lot of mass and then talking, they visualize themselves of like running a lot of business, but that will not work because you are using your conscious brain still. So what you need to do is you need to have a trance-like state, or you need to have a state of drowsiness, which I explained in the
Yes.
book. You need to have a state
Very
where
relaxed
your
kind of
conscious
state.
brain is either off or in a very relaxed state that it is enjoying the relaxation, and you can focus on your subconscious brain, or you can activate your subconscious brain. So most of the time we are sobby, we are crying, we don't want this situation, and we go in front of the mirror and say like, I want these things to change. It won't.
That is where people mistaken it,
That is-
understanding it
yeah.
as the subconscious mind that
That
they're
is why
using.
I said there is no foundation to it. So if you have the foundation to it, if your foundation was already set that you could program your subconscious mind instantly, so that foundation could have helped you even in that sobby situation. But most of the people don't set that foundation. So you need to develop a condition when your subconscious mind is active. The gist is that you need to have a condition. It may be different for different people. There are several techniques. If you can go to the chapter 6 specifically and see those techniques, but there are various techniques that we can like go on. So the main state is the best way or the easiest way for the people to practice is when they are about to sleep.
Yes.
Like there are different things about dreams and all this. When they're about to sleep, exactly the minute they're about to fall asleep, you just generate an idea into your conscious brain. You just keep repeating it, not in a way that you want to like consciously be with that idea. You just are thinking and you're leaving the body.
Basically, the body should be
Yeah.
very relaxed, and you're
Very
not
relaxed, very
putting
relaxed.
any efforts to it.
No effort to the body, no effort to the brain. You just generate an idea. It's like you were watching the movie. You don't put, for example, you are watching a movie, you don't put efforts on what scenes are going to come.
Yeah.
You just watch it. Oh, this happened. Oh, this happened. Even if you're trying to think, like for example, oh, this is going to happen, this may happen, but oh, this happened. You should not be the viewer, you should become that movie. It happens by the flow. It should like go on one frame after another, one frame after another. If you become the viewer, oh, now this is going to happen next, this may happen, oh, something is going to come. If you are in the state of that watcher, you will not be able to plant that.
Yes.
Even if you have the best visualization, even if you have the best affirmations, it's very hard. So mostly what people do is most people go to therapy or go to or go for therapy or consulting, and they are like put in a very relaxed state. Some people even practice like hypnotic
Yes.
trance, and then they just tell yourself to give that suggestion to think about that, and that gets planted, or they suggest it. Yeah.
So yes, and also when we talk about relaxing our body and practicing this affirmations, I think shower time is also a good time to do that, because most of the ideas are generated in shower, that I've heard of many great people. Because we are not putting efforts to our brain, that we are just enjoying the water. And
It can be, but it is a very special situation. I agree that shower time is a very good time, but it is a very special situation and very hard for people to practice in daily life, because in general case scenario, someone is nagging outside the bathroom, or someone is waiting for you to complete
Oh,
your,
that's a different
yeah,
scenario.
yeah, this is a situation where you are either living alone
Yes.
and you have a time not dedicated, that this is now I'm going to complete my bath in like 10 minutes and I'll start doing a subconscious. That will not, you will require a flow.
We are using conscious in
Yeah.
that case.
Yeah. And because you'll be watching your time, I need to take a bath in like 10 minutes, you'll be consciously watching. You need to have a time of flow where like time is secondary for you.
So I think from this particular discussion, our audience is very clear about the one difference between conscious and subconscious mind. That is, when you are relaxed and when you are calm and when you're not putting any efforts in your body, that's when it works the most, and that's when you can differentiate.
Yeah.
But I have myself, I don't know if it's actually I am able to differentiate that or not. But when I chant these mantras every morning, and it's been years that I've been doing this, and what I feel like is now that even I remember all the words and everything, the whole mantra. Even when I'm not putting my conscious effort, then I can chant it, and I can still be thinking about other things or talking to others. Not talking, basically. I can chant the mantras and still be thinking something else in my mind. So
But still, that may be multi your brain may be working very exceptionally, doing two things. You
but I really feel like
Like-
that is my subconscious mind working me help chant the mantras, and I'm thinking of something consciously. I have experienced this.
What if you may be thinking that your subconscious mind is chanting the mantra and your brain itself is chanting it?
No, I have been noticing this since quite a long, that I am thinking of my day, I'm thinking of my schedules, but then I can still chant the mantras very perfectly. So maybe that's when I can connect to the thought, action, and habits that's been mentioned in this book. Like once we transform these thoughts into actions, and then it becomes habit. I think that chanting mantras has become my habit now, and I can still be doing other things when I'm doing that.
So it may be that you have already planted the mantra and you need to chant the information that you need to chant, and you need to chant that mantra in your brain, in your subconscious brain, and your conscious brain is chanting the mantras on the instructions from the subconscious brain, because actions mostly are
Yes.
performed by the conscious brain.
Conscious brains.
Yeah, they are like, in the subconscious brain is normally, it's like it's the actions that you don't need control upon. So it's like if you I think you mean like something like the blood circulation, the breath, it's happening
But in a
inside.
sense, conscious and subconscious, they work together.
Yeah, when the conscious is active, but subconscious does not need
Yes,
the
it is
conscious
not
needs to be
needed.
active, but the conscious mostly need the subconscious to be active for most of the actions.
So, coming back to the chapters of book again, which is your most favorite part of this book?
The most favorite part of the book, is the place where it describes that it could be highly dangerous for you, very highly dangerous, that you could destroy yourself. That really fascinates me, and that if you don't have a foundation to use this book, you will find it meaningless. It's mentioned there that it will not only help you get something you want or become something you want, or but it has more negative effects, and the negative effects start very fast because you are habituated to plant negative thoughts or negative ideas inside your subconscious very fast, because that is like a natural mechanism that our
Yes.
body wants to protect us from something, and the negative is like always something that is not in our favor, so it plants it very fast. If you, for example, we talk about a general scenario of two lovers. So for a person to believe that a person loves that person, you need to see the love actions multiple times. You need to keep seeing it. It may be a month, it may be a year. Even if that person does not start loving you, for example, in around 4 or 5 years, you still need that reassurance and that activities to happen. But if we have a negative thought, if you see someone with someone or something,
We
that
stick
gets
into that.
that gets planted to you instantly, you dream about that event, you think about that event, you wake up with that event. You're even the food, every bite will remind you of that event. You're even when you said, like, when you take a bath, it will remind you about the event. When you see some other person similar to that person, will remind you about the event. You will see that your partner, that will also remind you about the same event. So negative thoughts will, like, it's instant, very instant.
It takes more efforts to inbuilt that positivity
Yeah,
in human
so
beings.
it's not from this book, but I have read another book, so I'll not tell the book. But what it says, like, as our brain
Yes.
gives more focus to negative
Negative.
things, which is very contrasting to what we have talked about today. We
Yes.
may talk about it very later on, but what I'm going to say is very contrasting. You change your positive thought affirmation in such a way that it is still positive with negative words.
Yes.
You change your affirmations, which I personally developed after a very long time. Even if have come today for talking about the subconscious brain, I believe that we can use the negative energies, and negative energies are very good, which is
They're very powerful too.
very good, very good if you use it very properly. You just need to be very, 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 very careful while using it. But negative energies, negative forces are more fast working, more reliable, more good. But in case of affirmation, if you need to talk that using this book, when you plant your affirmation, you change that affirmation in such a way that it has negative word but still have positive meaning. So the I will wake up fast tomorrow, I will not wake up late, will not.
That is how
So
we can program
yeah.
it.
So negative affirmations, you need to reprogram the statements very wisely. So sometimes the negative statement may mean a lot of things to you. So the meaning must be clear to your brain. So if you use negative thoughts, as we presented the example of lovers, so
Yes.
we make our affirmations negative, but it still gives the positive sense using the negative words mostly.
It's also about utilizing the energy very wisely.
Yeah. For example, I'll reach office at time. I will not reach office late. So you just make it the reverse. That will work.
Ultimately, it
Like,
means the same, but
it
it's
means the
very
same.
smart.
Yeah. And it is the portion where we I want, like, we can give for the readers or the podcast watchers a different theme or different area they could discover. That is the whole portion of the dark psychology or the black side, or maybe the negative psychology for positive goods. If they dive into that, and for understanding that, if people directly go to the negative psychology, so it is very straightforward and straightly talking. And if you don't have the foundation of this positive psychology,
Yes.
you will feel completely
We
lost.
must start with the
Every
positive.
words you read will mean meaningless.
Yes.
Some chapters may feel meaningful to you here. Every word you read in a dark psychology book is like
Because
meaningless.
we have not been practicing it and we have not experienced how it
Yeah.
actually feels, so it might sound like a myth to
Yeah.
us. So, lastly, would you like to what would you like to suggest to the readers who want to dive into this book and know what's inside it?
So the thing that I want to take, the most important thing is, like, you set a foundation. You take time to set the foundation. There are several ways that you could do it. Most people suggest for doing the meditation thing. You just calm your brain and do all the things. But meditation does not work for a lot of people because they have their work life, they have their family life, all the things. And people can even start by doing naps, which is very famous in countries like Japan, which is very famous in countries like the some parts of China, like taking nap between a different session, taking
Yeah.
nap between different
I've
work.
seen the students have a separate time for the
Yeah.
nap inside the
Yeah,
schools.
that is for
China.
taking your conscious brain and developing a situation where you can plant it in your subconscious brain. When we go out to our schools, we are just reading and reading. We don't even know what we read at our first period when you go to the end class of our the day. So that is the time when they are planting that all the knowledge that they gain during the last period inside their subconscious brain, so they can, like, relatively work more faster, easy, or in an intelligent way the next time they solve their problem or use that idea somewhere. So the thing is nap. So napping is also not a good thing if you see the work environment of our country or the school. Napping is not a practice. So meditation and napping. But if you leave alone like you live alone, you are trying to take a vacation just to reprogram your subconscious brain. Meditation may work for you. If you can't sit for meditation for a long time, 15 minutes nap every 2 hours or 1 hour will benefit you a lot. So napping 15 minutes every hour will not be very beneficial if you are working in your office. That's a very
It
bad
might go
thing.
long hours.
Yeah. And another is the trance meditation or the trance walk. You may find this in most spiritual books, in meditations, in different kind of meditation, the trance walk. Some meditation, like if we take the context of very old context, there is a king called Rumi, where the king used to like open the hands and just swill, like rotate himself around and around and around until he fell down, and he used to break his head multiple times because he used to do that in the cemented floor. Why? Because the conscious brain would never let you fall in the cemented floor. So in order to activate my subconscious brain, I need to perform it in a cemented floor where I leave my body in such a way that I fall down, I don't care about the head. That is a very brutal way of doing it. But that system derived a new technique called the it's called the we can call it the walking hypnotic state. It is a self hypnotic state where you walk to your home, from your workplace to your home, or to your school to your home. You walk to that place every day by different routes. You don't take the same routes every 7 days. You can switch between every 7 days. If you don't have many routes to go to your home, you can switch the routes. You just go and walk the paths, all different paths every day. This will help your brain to accommodate many information, many images which you could use for visualization later, which subconscious brain is recording. You need to store a lot of images. For example, in order to make a movie, you need to take more clips. So you need to take more clips. You can't keep seeing the same thing. You can't keep seeing the same book. You can't keep seeing the same person in order to have a highly dynamic subconscious memory. So you need to take different routes. Number one. When you take the different routes, when you are familiar with all the 7 or 8 routes, you just live to go to your home, but don't think which way you are going to take, and you just walk and concentrate upon a secondary thought. For example, what are the things you need to complete on the work, what the book you are writing, or the poem you are composing, or the video you are making. You just keep walking. You'll reach home realizing that you have taken a path, and you will not remember the path you have taken. It will happen to you. Sometimes you may remember in the middle of the road, but what happens is, like, I have done it multiple times. I used to code because I normally code for the day-to-day work. I code, so I used to code a lot of times. So what I used to do is, like, I used to keep coding and coding. If I have a problem, I didn't used to sleep around 2, 3, 4 days. So I used to be in such a trance state. So I used to directly fall down into the keyboard until I have that is a bad habit, but I used to do it. Then what happens, like, when I wake up, I used to come up with a problem. So in that time, I used to go to hostel from my college in that sleepy mode, but I used to reach the hostel, and I didn't used to remember the path I have taken. So after that, I changed my habit to a very drastic changes in the habits, and I went to this dark psychology side. Then that gave me a very different perseverance, perspective to the world. And what happened is, like, taking different routes for just reaching your home will set a foundation, and after that you just need to go to home without thinking or without knowing which route you have taken. If you have attained that, you'll attain to a certain level that you can give your affirmations just in any state, that you look at the mirror, you know nothing exists, and you say affirmation to yourself, and it gets planted to your brain. And if you are not being possible to do it, you just take yourself to the state. You shut down everything, you sleep in a calm, comfortable environment, you take that idea, feed it into your brain, and plant it. So that, and while doing that, you do not plant negative ideas. And the book says it can harm you 10, 20, 30, normally very to a large extent, than it can support you to become something. And most of the thing happens in the negative way, and most of the people practice knowingly, unknowingly in the negative aspect. So we have lost it.
So yes, that was really interesting example, real life example that you have given. I think it made audience understand very clearly about the working of subconscious mind and how they can apply it in their daily lives. So, thank you for sharing all this knowledge with us. It was wonderful to have you here.
Yeah.
And some last words to our audience.
So I think I have to, if we keep extending this is a very huge topic. So lastly, I would like to say that the things I have said, you can use that, and there are very different variations of these examples. This is just one variation that you go to your home and use it. There are different variations of writing a whole story in your notebook and never realizing that you wrote 10 pages. Like, there are different variation sets you can do, but it is the state you need to attain where your conscious brain is off and you complete accomplish a task being conscious with a separate thought. That is
So,
what
thank you.
yeah, that's just okay.
So, that was all for today. I hope you all enjoyed our conversation, and I am so sure that we are all excited to dive into the extracts of The Power of Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. So, we are gifted with this beautiful brain, and let's try to use it very wisely and make the most out of it. Thank you all. This is me, Seleska Sharma, signing off. See you in the next episode.